श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरि ओम ओम अखंडानंदसंबोधः वंदनाद्यस्य जायते गोविंदं तमहं वंदे चिदानंदतनुं गुरुम्. So yesterday we were seeing about the beauty which we see is just skin deep, right? So that is what he is continuing with. He says, next shloka, दूरादवेक्ष्य अग्निशिखां पतंगः रम्यत्वबुद्ध्या विनिपत्य नश्यति यथा तथा दृष्ट नष्टदृगेव सूक्ष्मं कथं निरीक्षेत विमुक्तिमार्गम्. दूरात् अवेक्ष्य अग्निशिखां पतंगः रम्यत्वबुद्ध्या विनिपत्य नश्यति यथा तथा नष्टदृगेव सूक्ष्मं कथं निरीक्षेत विमुक्तिमार्गम्. So yatha tatha, like similarly, he is giving example and exemplified. Yatha is example and tatha is exemplified. Okay, so now he says durad avekshya, from farther, from distance, avekshya, after seeing, yatha patangaha, like the patanga, like this small fly, firefly or whatever fly that is. So what happens is it sees the agnishikam, it sees the fire. The tip of the fire glows very bright. The center is dark. The tip edges are very bright. So from farther it sees this tip edge and it is attracted towards it. Ramyatta buddhya, it sees it's so beautiful. Wow. So it's like our Hanumanji. Hanumanji saw a very beautiful fruit up there. So he tried to pluck it. He jumped and was about to catch it, and sun god hit him with his mace and said, "You will forget everything." He gave a curse. The fruit he was about to pluck was sun. I was jokingly saying, when they released this Aditya L1, when Aditya went, this new satellite they are sending to the sun, I said they should have named it Hanuman. Like Hanuman went closer to that. This also is going to closer to the sun, right? So they should have named it Hanuman actually. Now, Ramyatta Buddhya, we can't even imagine, they may even name it later. Ramyatta Buddhya. So seeing it, seeing that fire to be a very beautiful thing, Patangaha Avekshya Vinipatya Nashyati, it falls into it and dies. Earlier also I said, Patanga, this firefly, it looks at the fire and jumps into the fire and dies. Okay. Now, only seeing, looking into it, it dies. You have this elephant. Elephant is interested in the touch. That is how they catch the other elephant. If there is a male elephant which is arrogant and gone mad, they'll use a female elephant to catch it because it is interested in that touch. The happiness gained through sense pressure gains to touch. Okay, it gets caught or it dies. And the deer, there's this deer called Kasturi deer, the musk deer. So the musk deer, it runs for the smell of musk to find where that smell is, and finally dies, which is in its stomach. It searches for that, and that musk is in its stomach. Okay, then you have this fish. Fish is interested in this small feed, so it tries to eat that feed, but in that feed is hooked to the hook, and this also gets caught in the hook. So each sense organ, they die, and this fellow, when he is involved in the copulation, all his sense organs are functioning. What will happen to it? No. We are not idiots like that fly. We'll escape from that. That is exactly what he says. Vinipatya nashyati. He goes there and he dies. He cannot escape it. The idea that you can escape it is a false idea which you give to yourself. Like what? Like this a false idea. See, Like there is this firefly. Forget about the firefly there. See, firefly, if you go closer to it, it is going to hurt. It's going to be very hot and all that. So you can escape. You can give that stupid logic. I will not go into that. I will give you another example. See, there is this bee or wasp. This bee, what happens is it is attracted to this lotus. So it goes and sits in the lotus. Okay, I'm not even talking about the honey bee. I'm talking about a big bee. Okay, which can drill through the bamboo. You have seen that kind of wasp and bee which drills through the bamboo. So this bee that goes and sits in the center of that lotus, very beautiful it is, and there is a beautiful fragrance, and it is enjoying and relaxed there. And when the time comes for the petals to close, see, lily, it opens only in the night and closes in the day. The lotus, it opens in the day and closes in the night, right? So when this fellow goes and sits in the lily or lotus, and when it closes, this fellow who is caught inside will die there without being able to drill through the small feathery petals. Very soft petals they are. This fellow has the ability to drill through the bamboo, but not through the lotus. He will die. That is exactly what our problem is. When we get caught into it, we will not be able to escape. We may say from outside, I will escape that, I'll do this, I'll do that. All that is nonsense. You will not be able to escape. That is why he says, Muda buddhi, nashtadrik. Nashtadrik means idiot. Earlier he said, Mudha. In other Bhajagovindam also he says, Mudha, idiot. Now here he says, Nashtadrik, this fellow who has lost his eye, idiot. Simple. So what happens? Sukshmam katham vimukti margam niriksheta. This subtle vimukti marga, the path to the, when he has lost his eye, how can he see this path of liberation, which is subtle? See, if you don't have an eye, if there is a huge road, you can just walk on the road. Okay, there is no issue. The road edges, you can understand, and you can walk on that. Or the walking path, walking track, you can walk on that. That's not a big issue. But if you have to go into a forest road, you will be hitting each tree and things. You will not be able to, if it's a small walking path, you will be lost. So that is why he says this is a very subtle path, like that walking path. Okay, walking path means not on the sides, in the trekking path in the forest or mountains. Okay, so kamena kantam parikrishya tatvat janopi ayam nashyati nashta buddhihi mamsasti majja malamutrapatram striyam tatharamyataiva pashyati. We already saw you cannot escape because there are people who are waiting outside, the paratroopers. What are they? They are the protectors, they are the policemen waiting outside. Who are they? They are the kama, etc. So he is bringing that kamena kantam parigrishya tadvat. He is giving another example, the practical example. Janopi ayam nashyati nashta buddhihi mamsa asti majja malamutrapatram striyam tatharamyataiva pashyati. Why will I be get caught? Where will I be get caught? He says tadvat. Similarly, ayam janaha, this person, janaha, person. Okay, here in the place of striyam, you can interchange it with as purusham. Okay, so instead of striyam, a woman, you can make it as a man. That's not a big deal. So a person, what happens to him? Tadvat janaha api tadvat. The man also, the woman also, similarly, the person also similarly, nashta buddhihi, who has lost their head. That kind of person we are talking about. Not a person with a discrimination and dispassion. A person who has lost their head. Kamena, with lust. Kamena, not just with desire, with lust. Kantam, the opposite sex. Parigrishya. Kanta here is woman. So opposite sex. Parigrishya nashyati. Accepting that person, the other part, he gets destroyed. I already said it has all the 5 elements involved, all the sense organs involved. Therefore, he gets destroyed completely. How? No. How can you say he gets destroyed completely? For that, the example I gave in the Hindi class and the later Tamil class also is, I remembered the story of Siddhartha, Hermann Hesse Siddhartha, which is a Nobel winning idiotic book. Don't just because I said don't go and read it. It's a stupid book. I'll come to that why. So Herman Hesse Siddhartha. That is why I had to write another book called Govinda to counter it. So Herman Hesse Siddhartha and Govinda, they are friends. That is why I named it on the other person. What happened? What happens is these fellows, these both friends, they leave the house and they go to a Jain center where they learn the Jainism. They are not happy with it. They leave there and they go to a Buddhist center where this fellow stays back. Who? Govinda stays back. And Siddhartha leaves him and goes to some other place. While wandering here and there, he goes to a village where there is this prostitute. And he is so attracted to her, he asks her. So she says, okay, I can go with you. But the problem is, you need to pay me. I need to survive. So you need to pay me. Do you have money? If you don't have money, don't even talk. So she says, I don't have money. So she says, okay, if you want to earn money, this is the businessman who comes to me regularly. I'll hook you up with him. So she links him up with him, and then he becomes his assistant and starts working for him, doing all the accounts and all that. And later starts earning so much, and he becomes a bigger businessman than the other businessman, his boss, and he becomes a very rich landlord. Now, at this point, he doesn't allow that prostitute to be a prostitute. He keeps her as his kind of wife. He does not married, but he keeps her for him alone. Okay, so this is how he is being spending his time and all that. At one point of time, he is in his mangrove, and he was with that lady. And after that, he comes out, and he was in the evening. It was evening, so he was a little tired, and he wanted to freshen up. So he just want to wash his face. He comes to this pond where he wants to wash his face. When he looks down on the pond to wash his face, he sees an old man in the reflection. He says, "Who is this old man? Why is my reflection? In my reflection, this fellow is coming." Then when he sees, he understands it's not some other old man's reflection he's seeing. It is his own reflection. Now, he has lost so many years. That is what I wanted to comment. You won't even realize that you have lost so much of period. Okay. Now, this fellow, after understanding this, he gives her up also and runs away from there and comes to a bank where there is this boatsman, and he becomes an assistant to the boatsman. And that's where the stupidity starts. The Westerners love it. They love it. That's why that got the Nobel Prize and all. Stupid book from there. So what happens? This fellow also, the boatsman becomes his guru. He teaches him how to speak to that river, and he starts speaking to that river. Psychological issues, nothing else. Okay. Now, then he meets that Govinda, who is a Buddha Bhikshu now, who is a Buddhist monk now, and he realizes that it is Govinda, but Govinda does not realize. He helps his other Buddhist monk who is coming along with him when he was stung by a snake or something. So all that stupid story. So the point is, you don't even realize until you turn back. Oh, I've lost so many years. That is the problem with this lust. So he says, Nashyati, he gets completely destroyed. That's how. Because at that point, you cannot, even if you turn back and look at what the time you lost, you will not be able to put effort to gain anything now new. Right? So, Tatha, similarly, Mamsasti. Why are you talking about this woman's body as this man's body as a very disgusting thing? Simple. What is this? When you remove the skin, when you skin him, what do you see inside? It is flesh, it is bone, marrow, nerves, and all that. And remember, each one of them, if you see it outside and you touch it, if you see it outside, that's not a big issue. But if you touch it, touching a bone, touching a marrow, touching a blood, touching a nerve, any of this, touching human feces on whatever, you have to take bath along with your dress. Sachelam snanam achare, that is what the Shruti says, the Smriti says. You have to take bath along with your dress. So this is not something new to Hinduism, Sanatana Dharma only. It is in every philosophy, every religion, every other thing, this kind of auspiciousness, inauspiciousness, pollution, and all that, these ideas are there everywhere. Okay. Now, this fellow, you has to, now see, bone you touch, you have to take bath. But I told you, conch is also bone. But there, this rule does not apply. You can use it for puja also. We use it for puja, not just to blow the conch, but also using it for abhishek, etc. You use it. So conch is a bone, but it is pious. How do you know this? Shastra say. If Shastra says, your guru says, forget about, close your eyes and just listen. That's all. You don't have to work on it. It is right. There is no doubt. You don't have to have any doubt regarding it. So he says, Mamsasti Mutrapatram Striyam, this kind of woman or man who is just bone, marrow, and all that. Ramyataya Vashati, he sees, like that photo of that monk. Dress, no dress, then comes the bone, marrow, and all that. Ramyataya Vashati, he sees that as a beautiful thing. Right? So that is why he says, Kamayeva Yamas Sakshat Kanta Vaitarni Nadi Vekina Mokshunam Nilayantu Yamalaha. Beautiful shloka this is. What does he say? Kama eva yamaha sakshat. Kanta vaitarni nadi. Vivekina mokshuna. Nilayantu yamalaya. So now he says kama, for whom this shloka is, vivekina mokshuna. For the person who is a viveki, who has discrimination, mokshu, who is desirable, who desires knowledge. Also vairagya. So you can understand, for a person with viveka and vairagya, this is the idea he imposes. What does he say? For gaining vairagya. So therefore, viveka and mokshu, if you are to gain vairagya, you have to understand this. Kama eva yama sakshat. Now he says sakshat. Directly he is yama, lord of death. Who? What is kama? Later he will say the difference between kama and yama. Yama is at least okay. Kama is even worse. He will say. Now lust, he says lust, desire is a like god of death. There is no doubt. Sakshat means there is no doubt about it. Sakshat directly. Here there is no doubt about it. Kanta Vaitarni Nadi. Kanta Vaitarni Nadi. A river called Vaitarni. This is a very important river called Vaitarni. In the Shastras, this river is quoted often. Why? Thing is, when a person dies, he travels through different worlds, different places. On the 10th day, on the 11th day, he has to cross the Vaitarni Nadi. When you do this kind of the Pitru karmas, the karmas which you perform for the ancestors, we perform for 13 days the karmas. Okay, so the 13th day it concludes. So till then you cannot go to temple. You are inauspicious. You are polluted. Okay, so you cannot go to temple and all. You have to perform this karma in your home and all that, or in some place, allotted place, etc. Now, there on the 13th day we have a boat kind of thing made of the bark of the plantain tree. The plantain tree, that bark. So you make a small boat kind of. It will be like, what is this? How will that fellow cross in with this boat? We are people who are rationalist. We'll put our rationalistic idea there. That's just a symbolizing the thing, because this bark is not helping your ancestor to cross over. It is the mantra which helps you to cross over. Okay, you have to understand that. Now, this Vaitarani Nadi, he crosses. How? Through the mantra. Now, he does not have a physical body. He has only a subtle body. And once he leaves the body, he will remember all the past until he comes out of his mother's womb. He will remember all that. Once he comes out, everything he forgets. That's all. Right? So this fellow, he was a gold medalist in swimming. Probably he was a fish somewhere in some other birth. It can be. So he does not need to have any of your help to cross over the Vaitarani river. If you think twice, because this fellow he may be whatever witness, but he has to cross this Vaitarani river. But the Vaitarani river, that is another bigger issue with this Vaitarani river. What is that? This is not a river which is a normal river with water or milk or water. This is not that. It's a very dirty river. It is filled with filth. It is filled with feces. If it is filled with urine, it is filled with pus. It is filled with blood. It is filled with whatnot, and the worms and all those things which are there, which will trouble you. Early, this is dirty, and in more than that, there is this worms and all that which is going to bite you. It's a terrible thing. That is why you have to see this is not only thing. You on these days, on these 13 days, they also offer food and water to the ancestors, and they will wear only wet cloth and use a wet cloth for all these karmas. You have to understand, because this Pitru, who the ancestor who just died, what happens to him is his body will be burning like fire. So, and he will be thirsty, and he'll be very hungry also. So you need to provide the food and all that. Otherwise, they'll be crying for food, and the body is burning. So they need that water to saturate the heat and all that. It's a very difficult thing. If you read these kind of shastras, you will be worried. Oh, what would happen to my father? What would happen to my mother? This person. Oh, my father, my mother, he needs that. She needs that. She bet me, how she treated me. She needs that. If you think your son, he may not be doing it for you. Okay. And if you are married, okay, at least if you are not married, you won't even get that option. So for the Veki Mokshu, this is the important thing. So he says, Sakshat, Kanta, Vaitrani, this object of love, object of desire, which you see in the other sex, that is definitely this river called Vaitrani. Okay. Then he says, well, Nilayantu Yamaliha, the house itself, Nilayan means house. House itself is the Yamalaya. It's not Shastralaya, it is Yamalaya. Yamalaya means the house of the palace of Yama, the Lord of Death. Now, after reading this, after hearing, oh, the house is Yamalaya. Okay. Now you look, after reading this, you look out and see. One boy will be poking playing. They are playing, okay, poking his younger brother or younger sister with the pen. Ching, 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 ching. Mommy, this fellow will be. Okay. Now, after reading this, you see that that fellow will have two teeth here hanging out and horns there, and he'll be poking his younger brother, that another jiva, with a sword. It's not a pen. So it's a terrible kind of thing. So that is the kind of because I said the mere look of these people, these people from this Yamaloka, they are terrible. They are ugly. That itself kills us 100 times. Every time you see, it kills us 100 times. So what will be the torture which you experience there? That is why he says, Yamalaye vapi grihepi no nrunam तापत्रय क्लेश निवृत्तिरस्ति किंचित् समालोक्य तु तद् विरामं सुखात्मना पश्यति मूढलोकः यमालये वा अपि गृहे अपि नो नृणां तापत्रय क्लेश निवृत्तिः अस्ति किंचित् समालोक्य तु तद् विरामं सुखात्मना पश्यति मूढलोकः. Yamalaye, in the house of death, in the house of the Lord of Death, the Yamalaya, the place of hell, or apiva gruhe, or the house, whichever. They are both same. We already said house is Lord of Death's place. Okay. Now, whichever place it may be, tapatraya klesha nivrittir no asti. No asti means no, not there. No asti means not there. What is not there? Tapatraya klesha nivritti, the trouble you gain because of the three different kinds of tapa. Three different pains. See, today, let us say the three difficulties are Adhyatmika, Adi Bhautika, Adi Devika. Okay, Adhyatmika means Adi Apne Sharire Bhava. Because of your Pitta, Vata, etc., some imbalance, you start having headache. And today is Nanda Utsav. Nanda Utsav means Nanda Gopa, this father of the father, actually, whom Krishna came to. Okay, his father is Vasudeva, so he was brought to this this Nandagopa's house and he was left there. Okay. Now this Nandagopa, he is celebrating the birth of a baby boy. So that day is today. They had invited me. I normally don't go. This person was very loving person. This person who decorated all the images of gods, and he came and he invited me. So I said okay. Now they had kept a big, it's a huge room, but the huge room is full of huge speakers, and there was one next to me. I had plugged my ears, I had a finger on my ear, everything. I had cotton and earplugs and a finger, and still I started having headache. The sound, now I'm okay. But when I came out, I still could not hear anything. My one of my ear was like clogged. Nothing. I could not hear anything. Some sound. So that is a elemental, right? That speaker is elemental. So second is a adi bhautika, the pain which you receive, the suffering which you receive through the bhutas, elements. Okay. The third is adi devika, the suffering because of God. See, if it is cold or if it is heat, if there's more heat or more cold, you may have headaches. So that is a because of God. So these three troubles you cannot escape in your home or in the Lord of Death. You cannot escape. That's only a place of a enjoyment or experience. That's all. You cannot escape your pain or anything. You can just be there and suffer or enjoy. That's the only thing you can do. You cannot do anything else. But in the lot of hell's place, the lot of Hema, the hell, you cannot even escape the pain. But what do you say? Maybe there in your scripture it is like that. But in my house, I have some happiness. Is it? So he is explaining that to you. Mudha lokatu, Mudha lokaha. Lokaha means lokutru darshne, the people who see, the idiots. Idiots. Mudha loka means the idiots. So he says, so the idiots too, kinchit. We see happiness. Yes. How? Kinchit tad viramam samalokya sukhatmana pashyati. Kinchit tad viramam. Okay. Now I was explaining to you the suffering in the hell. There is this kumbhi paka. Kumbhi paka means a frying pan in which you will be put and you will be fried. And after frying you deep, nice, they'll take you out and leave you for some time and take the other person to fry. Right? I explained this. Now you will be outside after being fried. You will be outside, and that oil which is boiling there, it starts sizzling out and it starts to settle down. Now, once it settles, I already told you, you are let to settle, and then you will be dipped in the oil again, boiling oil again. Now you understand. So you are boiled, you are let out. Once settled, you are again boiled. That settling period, that gap, that's a gap. Virama is gap. So like that, here also there is a gap. There is pain, there is a gap, and there is pain. So that gap, this fellow thinks as happiness. Viramam sukha atmana pashyati. That gap is what this fellow feels as happiness. Actually, there is no happiness. That gap where you are not troubled, that is what he feels as happiness. That is why he says, sukha atmana samalokya tad viramam. Tad viramam sukha atmana samalokya pashyati. He sees that gap. Virama means gap. Virama avasanam is the sutra in Panini. So the gap is called as the gap which is neither happiness nor pleasure, neither pain nor pleasure. But the gap, because there was pain in both sides, this gap he thinks as pleasure. We'll see this again. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.